Right, welcome back to the Vengacast. Today I'm here again with Lewis
Hello.
and Dan. Hello, Dan.
Hello.
Right. Both been on before. Today we're just going to go through, obviously, like the end of year awards that happen in the NBA and sort of get your opinions on each one.
Sounds good.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
I've just went on different websites and sort of got the bookies odds for each one, and then we'll just sort of go through each one and have a look at whether they deserve to be there or not, and who's your sort of favourites or underdogs.
Great.
We'll start off the big one then. MVP.
So I'm guessing most bookies have Giannis as top dog.
Yeah, Giannis is favourite on quite a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. So I suppose, obviously the Bucks have had a class season, and it's obviously not all down to Giannis. The coach has been great, and Middleton's been good and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think without Giannis, the Bucks would not be the top seed in the East.
Yeah, I think that's pretty safe to say. I think just him every year in general is just getting so much better. His main question this year was sort of, can he hit 3-pointers? And he's just started doing that in the last 3 weeks.
I was going to say the last few games he's been hitting threes, which is very worrying, I think.
Yeah. Well, Dan, you said you were playing the Bucks the other day, weren't you? And you were saying he was hitting them against you.
Yeah, just one after the other, pretty much. It was scary almost.
Yeah, I was literally the only thing he probably in most people's eyes couldn't do, and now he's starting to do it quite frequently. So yeah,
it'll be all
quite scary for the rest of them.
Kobe.
Yeah,
that's what it'll be.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. He was training with him.
Yeah, it'll be all that, the GOAT.
And then his main sort of competitor is obviously James Harden, who won it last year. Could he go back to back?
I think at the start of the year, the Rockets had a really bad start, if you remember, and it was because Harden was out.
Yeah.
But as soon as Harden came back, they literally shot up the standings.
Yeah.
So it does make a huge difference for their team. I know they've got Chris Paul and Capella, obviously, but I think Harden's the anchor of that team. The whole offense runs through him.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, but I just don't think, although it was incredible, the 30+ point streak that he went on, I just don't think he's had the impact as what Giannis has had. And I also think as well what's going to put a lot of people off is the whole foul and flopping thing that's been going on with him as well. Which I don't agree with personally, but you do what you do to win games, I suppose.
Yeah. For me, the main difference between these two is I think Giannis makes the team better, whereas Harden makes his own stats look better.
True. Very true.
I think even though on paper Harden's stats probably look better than Giannis's, I think if you watch a Bucks game and then go and watch a Rockets game, you'll know which player has the most impact.
Yeah, definitely.
I think last week or 2 weeks ago, the Rockets and Bucks actually played each other, and Giannis came out on top quite convincingly in that.
Yeah, I think as well, although Chris Paul and he's James Harden with Chris Paul and Clint Capella around him, I suppose Harden arguably this season has had the better supporting role, I suppose.
Yeah.
His squad have just been performing absolutely fantastically. Like I said before, Chris Middleton's been holding it down for him as well. And I think that's made a massive difference. Yeah, I think that's made a massive difference as well.
Yeah. So you maybe think, so you're still saying Giannis deserves it, but you're sort of saying the Bucks in general
definitely
have just been improving all over the court.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, who would you probably say edges it? Because these are the front two by a mile.
Yeah, I actually think Harden, but I think that's a bit of an unpopular opinion.
What do you think?
I remember at the start it was just Rockets were awful. They were 14th seed in the West. I know early days you can't really tell much off standings, but it looked like they really missed him. And this season he's averaging over 35 points a game or something, which I think is mental.
Mm-hmm.
The next closest is 28 points per game. So
yeah,
I know it's more than just about scoring, but I think he's a huge part of the Rockets. So I would probably say him.
Is he shooting a good percentage? Because I'm not sure what his percentage is.
Nah, I think his percentage is quite bad, to be honest, because he takes most of the shots for the Rockets.
Because don't get us wrong, I know obviously percentage isn't everything, but if he was averaging 35 points on say 45%, I'd be right.
There was a game this season. I can't remember who it was against now, but I remember everyone was sort of laughing at him on Twitter because he missed 13 3-point attempts in a row.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And I think
he's shooting 44%.
Oh, is he?
Which
Well,
isn't
that's
awful.
all right. God, yeah. I mean,
he's shooting 44%. Oh well, I said 45%.
44% from the field.
Yeah.
If he's shooting 45, then fair play. If he's averaging 35 points per game.
Yeah, and I think maybe as an individual, you could probably argue he's being better than Giannis. It's going to be close either way. Like literally, either of them could win it.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
I just personally think Giannis edges it because of, like Lewis was saying, how he makes the team play, and just because the Bucks are going to finish first in the NBA altogether, probably.
I think as well, like on the defensive end, Giannis is just a monster too, and I think that's something that, although Harden isn't exactly 6'11" like Giannis, I just think that's one big thing that like has always been one of Harden's downfalls. Like he barely plays any defense.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's another reason why I prefer Giannis for MVP, because for me, like the most valuable player should be the person that does everything the best. Yeah, and I just think that and Giannis has just been that this season.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say.
Yeah, I can understand that, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely.
Right then. Obviously, them two are like miles ahead in terms of sort of the predictions or bookies like odds. But third, I would say third place is Paul George, and he's sort of miles away from fourth and fifth, but nowhere near second and first. So why do you think he's so much better than the rest of the league, but nowhere near the front two still?
I suppose this season, like OKC are the 8th seed. And I think Westbrook this season's kind of taken a step back almost. Because although I still think he's averaging a triple-double,
that's like the norm for him now. Just does it all the time.
Yeah, exactly, which is still ridiculous, but I just think like he has still taken a back seat. And I think he's learning more now that it's about the team, not the individual, sort of. Like 2020 the other night. That was absolutely absurd.
That was.
And like
he was the first player to do it since
Wilt.
Yeah, Wilt.
And although people will be like, "Oh, he's stat padding," I don't care if he's stat padding or not. 2020 is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not like you just walk into a game and you do that with ease.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, in considering it's not been done with since Wilt, that just says something as well. So but I think with Russell taking like a back seat, it's allowed Paul George to kind of almost express himself a bit more as a player.
Yeah.
But I think at the same time as well, the reason why he's not come in as close to first and second is because, in my opinion, Harden and Giannis are a lot more clutch than what he is.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas like I seen a statistic the other day where it was like I think he's only made 3 out of something like 25 clutch shots, like buzzer beaters. Attempted. So I think that's probably what separates him from the top 2, but also probably the bottom 4 or 5.
Yeah. This is definitely a career year for him. He's getting 28 points a game, 8.2 rebounds, 4.1 assists, and 2.2 steals. And that's higher than every category across his whole career. So this is definitely a career year for him. So how much has he improved this year, and why do you think that is?
Yeah, I was just going to say, he's already, the last few years, he's been one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, no question.
Yeah.
I think this year, if you look at his stats, they've definitely improved massively. So he's added that to his game, as well as being an elite defender.
Yeah, especially scoring.
So if you look at it, yeah, exactly. So if you look at it, he is probably in content. If Giannis and Harden weren't so good this year, he probably would be in stronger position for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think, I think OKC, they're 8th or 7th in the West at the minute.
8th seed.
Yeah, so do you think, how much of a part do you think that plays on like his odds for MVP?
I think it definitely lowers him, to be fair.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
I think your team has to be one of the best in the league to even be in contention, like a top 5 across like East and West.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I'm talking Milwaukee, Toronto, Golden State, Denver, Houston. That's to be one of them teams. So I mean, if you look at OKC overall, like 12th out of the whole 30. So I don't think an MVP can be that far down. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on again, then in 4th, across like most bookies, I just went on odds checker for all these, but in 4th place they had Kevin Durant.
Oh, KD. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably could have seen that, to be fair.
I wouldn't have seen that, to be fair.
I think he's been the Warriors' best player this year, but that's just because of injuries elsewhere, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. But to be fair, I really didn't see KD being in there, like,
in contention.
Although Golden State and KD have had a good year, I just never pictured either of them have, like, because I don't think any of them have really had a notable year enough to be the MVP, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's been no standout.
Yeah, definitely not. So I never even thought KD would be up there.
Weirdly enough, the only stat that he's actually improved this year, rather than like across his whole career, the only stat that he's doing better at this year is assists, which is improved by about 2 assists a game. So do you think maybe he warrants being an MVP? Because that sort of shows although the individual stats are sort of not as good, his team like stats, so he's helping the team more. Like you were saying with Giannis, he's making the team better, I guess.
Yeah, but I suppose when you're surrounded by Steph Curry, Boogie Cousins,
must be nice.
Klay Thompson, like, I'm not being funny, but you should be banging out. Every player should probably have 10 assists a game at that stage. Like, Steph and Klay can shoot from anywhere. Durant can as well. I mean, any of them can, to be honest.
I know.
So
it's depressing.
For me, like, although he has improved his assists, it should be expected when everyone in the team can shoot from anywhere.
Yeah, because there's better players around you who you'd be happier to give the ball to, rather than like his OKC days.
Like if I was playing on Golden State, I'd be annoyed if I wasn't averaging 10 assists a game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like it makes sense, but I don't think an extra 2 assists a game on the 5 All-Star team warrants an MVP nomination.
Yeah, Dan, do you think he warrants a spot in the top 5?
I think if you look across the league, he probably has been a top 5 player this season. I don't think he touches the top 2. I don't think he even comes near them. But across the league, he probably is top 5. I mean, All-Star weekend and All-Star game, he was the MVP.
Yeah,
I know that doesn't mean very much because there's literally no defense. But still, I think he probably does deserve to be in the top 5, but just not any other top 2. Mm-hmm. So he's probably deserved where he is.
So you would put him sort of similar to Paul George sort of category?
Yeah, 4th or 5th. Just under. 4th or 5th, I would have him.
Yeah. Right, the last then, 5th place, Kawhi Leonard.
That's an interesting one.
I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting you to say Jokic.
No, I would have put Jokic personally, but Kawhi Leonard, I think, to be fair to Kawhi, what's probably surprised me the most, and I know us three all talked about this at the start of the year, saying, oh, this is going to go wrong. He's clearly not happy to be at the Raptors. And fair play to him, he's proved everyone wrong.
I think in this situation, what he's probably wanting to do is think, right, if I just play class this season, that's me getting a fat payday next year.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be one of the reasons. But I also think as well, Kawhi is a quality player. He showed that the Spurs. But I think as well, a lot of people said, like, on the pop, he was just going to be sort of like a role player, like just do his job sort of thing.
Yeah, but
and I think this season, and I was going to say, I think this season he's just proved that he's not just a role player. He's actually one of the top players in the NBA.
Yeah, I think that's definitely safe to say. This year he's improved in points, rebounds, and assists. He's actually across his career he's averaged 17.6 points, but this season alone he's averaging close to 27. So why do you think his scoring's improved that much, Dan? Or Lewis? All right.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
I think he's on the Raptors now, and then obviously Pop is everyone. He just wants to go, if you know what I mean. But whereas now on the Raptors, he can like sort of just do what he wants. If he's the first scoring option every time, every possession. If they can get the ball in his hands and he can score, that's what it'll be.
Yeah.
Unless, obviously, double team or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
he has to pass it off.
What do you think?
9 times out of 10, he probably will be the guy who
do you think that helps them? Obviously, on that Spurs team last year, although it was still good, I wouldn't say it's as good as what the Raptors team that he's on this year is.
Yeah.
I think the team around him is good. You got Lowry. Actually, I was watching the game.
It was funny the other week when him and who was it?
Steve Adams.
Obviously, he's got Danny Green.
No, was it Steve Adams when
I don't know. I saw a video of him and Stephen Adams having an argument the other
day. Him and Marquise Chris were proper going at it.
Chris,
it was absolutely class.
Yeah, I think about that.
Yeah, he's bulked up quite a lot this season as well, which I think has really helped him in the post.
He's moved position as well, which I think he needed to do. I think he's been playing power forward for so long. I just think he wasn't really being utilised there, sort of his blocking ability and natural, I don't know, just the strength of him.
Length.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
So no, I do think Kawhi's definitely. I mean, fifth in the league's probably right for Kawhi. I think the season that he's had proved that he's not just a role player under Pop, but he's also he's been a quality player this season. So I think top 5 definitely makes very good sense.
Yeah. Right, I'll ask both of you then. I'll start with you, Lewis. Who should win MVP?
I think it's going to be close between Harden and Giannis, but for me, I think just with what I've been saying, it has to be Giannis.
Yeah, and then is there anyone who's not in the top 5 who you think maybe should be considered?
Like I said before, I think Jokic should be considered because although I think with the players that have been nominated, they're quite boisterous sort of players, if you get what I mean. The media loves them.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Jokic, what he is, nicknamed the silent assassin sort of thing, he just gets on the court and gets the job done, and I think he's been absolutely incredible this season.
Mm-hmm.
Not MVP caliber, but I do think he should have been in discussion.
Yeah, definitely.
So I was surprised when he wasn't in there, but he's probably the only real player that I can think out of everyone that should have been in the in discussion for it.
Yeah, Dan, who's your MVP? And then is there anyone who I didn't read out in the top 5 who you think
I think Harden
deserves a chance?
It has to be Harden. Just for sheer scoring. I don't think Jokic touches the top
list
2.
Is sort of correct. You wouldn't change it.
Having said that, I don't even know if he comes near top 5. I think he just misses out on top 5. In my
moving
opinion.
on then, Rookie of the Year. Quite a few good rookies this year. A lot better than the last few years. Rookie classes, I'd say.
Definitely.
And starting off, clear number 1, very clear favourite is Luka Doncic.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's been a given. He's been absolutely incredible. Yeah, and to be honest, he's although the Mavericks are making playoffs, he's been the sole reason why, in my opinion, anyways, that the Mavericks have been able to. And especially when he single-handedly torched Golden State himself.
Yeah.
He absolutely, he dominated them, getting a triple-double against them. So I just think it's probably clear-cut that he's going to win.
Yeah, I think
rightly so.
I think Luka Doncic, not just this season, but I think he sort of opened up. Obviously, there was the trade on the trade deadline where Porzingis has ended up going to the Mavericks. And Dan, do you think the Mavericks would have made that trade if they didn't have the trust that Doncic is going to be a star for years to come? Sort of build them two together.
I don't think so. I think I think because of the season Doncic had before they made the trade, they knew that next year they could maybe be a top 5 seed in the West. So with that,
I can say that
before Porzingis' injuries, he was unreal for the
watching him actually play he is incredible.
I think it's a good move by the Knicks.
Obviously I know his height is a massive factor as to why he's really good. Mm-hmm. But do you know when you watch some players and they're really uneasy on the ball? For being such a big man, he is really, really confident on the ball. And I think the Mavericks are pretty much guaranteed a good pick next year as well. So I think if they get another good player, they've definitely got a dynasty on their hands potentially. Yeah.
This year, Doncic is scoring 21.2 points a game, which is quite mad for a rookie, to be honest.
Yeah, it's incredible, to be fair.
And I think he's already probably the star on that team. I mean, there was calls from the All-Star game. I've
seen that.
Is he just too good of a talent not to win it?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose as well, if you look at it as well, he was a 17, 18-year-old kid winning the EuroLeague MVP, against fully grown men as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it was inevitable he was going to be a star, but I don't think anyone expected him to take the league by this much storm.
Yeah.
But he's absolutely smashed it this season, to be fair.
That's an interesting point, actually. Do you maybe think just Luka, like his impact this year, do you think that'll make more teams sort of look at the like European players coming through and just go maybe give them more of a chance because they've looked at what he's done this year?
Definitely. I think it's like the European leagues are like done a bit of an injustice to a sense.
Yeah,
because
like that's sort of slept on.
Although like the USA is like basketball mecca, if you look at the Olympics and stuff like that, you know, it's always a team like Spain or someone like that comes second normally.
Yeah.
Which I just think, you know, it just says like, look at us, sort of, you know what I mean? And I think now with what Luka's done, and especially like having Nowitzki there as well, I think like just looking at what they've done, it should definitely draw more attention to European players.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think a lot more teams, is it Sekou Doumbia from France? I think a lot of teams might be looking at him as sort of this year's Luka Doncic, like, ooh, he plays in Europe, he might have the same impact.
Yeah.
But it's a bit similar to MVP. There's sort of two clear favourites for this, but the top two's not as close. And in seconds, Trae Young at Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going off second half of the season, Trae, it would be a lot closer.
Definitely.
I think just Doncic had that more. Well, he was used to playing against fully grown men and the physicality, which I think's helped him in the NBA. Whereas like Trae was used to playing against like college kids who were similar age and size to him essentially. So I think he just took a bit of a time to adapt to the NBA. But now that he's in the second half, he's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Dan, how good do you think Trae Young can become?
I think he can become just as good as Doncic, to be honest. I think he's settled into the league a bit better now. Hawks have won a lot of games in the last, I'd say, 20. They've won a lot. If maybe Trae had started the way he's sort of finishing, I think Hawks could be a lot higher up the standings and maybe be in towards playoff contention. It's just a shame it took him a bit of time to settle, but I think he can be just as good. I think it was a good trade from Hawks for the Hawks to make.
Because I was going to say they could have had Doncic, but they traded him to the Mavs. So it's quite interesting that these are the top two,
like maybe
both
top
involved
three
in that trade.
Yeah, I think though, you know, although Doncic has turned out fantastic, the Hawks must have their eyes on something else because you wouldn't.
So,
although they couldn't have foreseen Luka becoming this good, they must have seen someone in this draft class who they thought, right, well, we're obviously still tanking. The Mavericks aren't going to have a good season, so we're going to have two good picks. So they must obviously have their eyes on someone.
Yeah, or two people. If they're probably likely going to have two picks in the top 10, which is really good. But yeah, Trae Young not as good on scoring, but still up there. 19 points a game, 8 assists a game as well, which is pretty good for a guard at this level. Pretty consistent numbers. And like you said, I think these stats wouldn't have been as good, like nowhere near as good in the first half, but I think the second half he's really pushed on. I know he himself believes he should win it, but do you think he realistically has a chance?
Nah, not really.
Yeah,
100%.
So.
Well, I think he's the first rookie since Magic Johnson as well to get 5 triple-doubles.
Yeah, that's impressive.
So, and like as a rookie coming out the gate, that is absolutely like for any player to get 5 triple-doubles in the season, it's great, let alone a rookie.
Yeah.
So I definitely think he's rookie of the year. Sorry.
Yeah, after these two, it sort of gets a bit open, but I just sort of looked at multiple places and tried to put the last three together, and it seems like in general this is sort of what it is. So a lot of people had Wendell Carter Jr. sort of sitting in the third spot.
Yeah,
the Bulls.
He's had a good season. He's got a lot of potential, I think, but I don't think he's anywhere near the top two. Definitely not.
I don't think anyone else in the league for rookies comes close to the top two. But
not really.
But yeah, like we were saying at the start, I think this has been a better rookie class than the last few years for sure. And I think he is still a good player, despite maybe not being anywhere near the top two.
No, like definitely. Like I said, I think he's got a lot of potential. He's just not quite got that. Because obviously Doncic and Trae Young aren't superstars yet, but they are like, they are really good quality players. Whereas I just don't think Wendell's quite at that level yet. I think he's a bit of a project more than a natural superstar.
Yeah. Do you also think, Dan, I'll ask you sort of how the Bulls have had a shocking season, let's be honest. That obviously hasn't helped him. How much of a part do you think that'll play in it? Obviously the team around him not doing well either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that plays a huge part. If your team's not playing well, you're not going to play as well as you can. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's on the same level as Doncic and Trey, but I think he can become like a good starter in the NBA. He's been injured for large parts of the season as well. I remember seeing he was out for 2-3 months at one point, so I have to bear that in mind as well. Sometimes
especially for a rookie, because
get
you're
back
not really
to your
used
normal
to.
self.
You don't know how properly to come back from an injury in the NBA, because you're coming straight back into top physicality. Moving on to fourth, a player I know you speak quite highly of, Lewis, quite a bit.
Exactly.
DeAndre Ayton, the number one pick.
Yeah. I think with Ayton, I think he's been very unfortunate of being drafted by the Suns, if I'm being honest.
I think it's probably the case that everyone drafted there.
Yeah, I remember watching a video, and don't get us wrong, although Devin Booker is an absolutely incredible player. He went for back-to-back 50-point games as the youngest player to do it. I watched this video of like the Suns' offense, and it's criminal how underused Ayton is. But even though he's underused, I'm sure he's still averaging a double-double. Sorry. Which, considering when I watch this video, like you'd be wide open in the paint.
Yeah, he is.
And he's a 7-foot guy, and he was a first pick. Like, and to me, if you're 7 foot in the paint and you're the first pick, why wouldn't you have the ball passed to you? So I think he's just been unlucky with the team that he's been drafted to, but I stick by my opinion that he has potential to be an absolute superstar. He's just on the wrong team to become a superstar.
Yeah. Why do you think he's on the wrong? Do you think what plays a bigger part, just the Suns being poor in general, or maybe that sort of the huge reliance that they have on Devin Booker to get them points, and they barely use anyone else?
It's both of them things. I think the coach is scared to upset Devin Booker, because it's like, I know it sounds stupid, but the Suns right now reminds me of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air episode where it's like the basketball one, and the coach's tactic is just pass the ball to Will. And I think Devin Booker's just Will in this situation.
Yeah.
And I think they're just scared to do anything that upsets him, because he has got the potential to become a once-in-a-generation talent. And the Suns don't want to lose that. But I also think Ayton is probably one of the best prospect big men that we've seen in a while. And he's just being criminally underused because of that system. And it's just unfair on him, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, he's averaging a triple-double, getting 16.3 points a game and 10.3 rebounds. And I don't know, Dan, would you agree with what Lewis is saying? Sort of, he's just not used enough.
I think I've seen probably maybe the exact same video. I've definitely seen. I was watching a similar video about DeAndre, and I think 100% he just doesn't get used enough. I've seen like clips of him wide open in the paint, and Devin Booker just pull up or go for a wild drive. And
how Lewis was on about a 50-point game before. I think it was the second one in that, and there was like a clip of him literally saying to his teammates, like, "Oh, just keep giving the ball to me. I'm going for 50."
Yeah,
and like I know.
And they were purposely fouling as well.
Yeah, like the players won't want to say anything to him because he's sort of like their leader.
Yeah,
but you can probably imagine in the back of their minds that sort of thing. Like we play too. Like it's not just you.
100%.
I think the Suns need to sort that out.
Yeah, definitely. I think like the Suns just need an overhaul, like because they've got the chance to like have a fantastic two-headed monster there.
Yeah,
they just haven't, because the coach is shit. Like some of the plays that they make are like it literally is just get the ball to Devin, try and get him open. If he's not, just let him shoot anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that needs to change.
The Suns could potentially have the number one pick this year as well, and even if they don't, they're still going to get a good player because they're probably going to have a top 3 pick with their record. So, for sure. And I just don't get, sometimes when I look at the Suns team, you don't get how they are so bad because they have so much young talent on that team. But then it's probably like what you said. It's just like they just give the ball to Booker and don't do anything else. You can't do that as a team.
Yeah, exactly. Like they take the college approach a little bit. Like, you know, you watch Duke, and it's just between, you know, Zion, Trey Jones, and Barrett, and it's just played between them, which is, you know, fair enough because they are like, it's projected to be some of the top picks in the nation, but at the same time, it's a bit of a 3v5 kind of game, and it's kind of demoralising to other players, like thinking, well, I'm not going to get any time because they view me as better. Because it's the same situation sort of as like what I had in LA.
Yeah.
Like with them saying like, oh, AD, you know, I want you. So they kind of see themselves as dispensable. Mm-hmm. So I just think they need to get themselves sorted out in the back room.
Yeah, definitely. Last rookie on the list then. James will be happy about this one. On another struggling team in Cleveland Cavaliers, Colin Sexton.
Yeah.
I mean, if James was on, he wouldn't be speaking... Well, James would speak so highly of him, but realistically, how would you evaluate his season on probably one of the worst teams in the NBA? Also going to be a top 3 pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
do you maybe think
rookie
being on a bad team's helped
team
because he's getting the ball more?
Agreed.
Yeah, and they have a better chance of becoming good players.
I think that's a good thing about how the way the NBA is set up. The worst teams get the highest picks. It gives the best players, exactly, it gives the best players coming out of college the chance to become as good as they can because they can see much more of the ball.
Yeah.
So I think he's had a good year. I think if Cleveland can improve their roster,
would you say he's the Cavs'
they
best
should build
player
around him really. I think he can grow into a really good NBA starter.
Kevin Love, I don't know what's going to happen with him.
I mean,
does he stay or
Kevin Love? Maybe
a bit of a weird one.
Is still probably the Cavs' best player, but I think he has to go. Yeah, I mean,
and then
I think he probably will end up staying, but I think he should go. If you look at the roster around him, it's just
I think the Cavs need an overhaul on the court. To be honest, there's a lot of their players getting older, and they've sort of been hanging around there for a few years, like Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love and J.R. Smith and people like
that. I think though, like if the Cavs got the number 1 pick, we could potentially see like the second coming of Kyrie and LeBron if they get Zion and Sexton, which I think could be very interesting to see, to be honest, because we could see them two grow together, and I think as well they would complement each other's play styles perfectly. Because I think Colin Sexton's quite a good distributor of the ball. And obviously Zion, he's not the best perimeter shooter, but, you know, flashy dunks and alley-oops he's fantastic at. So, you know, I think they'd complement each other's play styles perfectly, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, he's averaging 16.6 across the season, but in his last 3 games, he's got above 20 points each time. So I guess he's sort of really coming into his own now. Sort of a bit similar to what Dan was saying with Trae Young's really getting used to the league now. Do you think, like you were saying about them getting Zion maybe next year, do you think that would be the best thing for him? Because he'd be getting the ball less? Or do you think that would help him because he'd have another reliable guy and all the pressure wouldn't be on him?
I think it'd probably help him more because then it kind of gives him the ability to also improve his passing game too. Because although he still is quite a good distributor, you know, having a player like that to be able to pass the ball to, but like also see the kind of you get used to playing with them sort of thing, and you know like what they're going to start to do. So I think it'll probably be very good for him if Zion did go to the Cavs.
Dan, do you think that would maybe help him if there was another good player he could sort of rely on that team?
Yeah, I think as a point guard, you want good players around you. Your main goal is to distribute the ball around. So, I think it could definitely help them. I think it's better than them ending up with outside the top 5. I think.
I think Kevin Love's a bit past it now.
I think pairing him with Zion could work. Maybe then you can keep Kevin Love as well.
Both trade,
try and compete next year.
Or get rid of Kevin Love.
Yeah, more than likely.
You both said you think Doncic is going to win Rookie of the Year, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
So if I had to get one player from each of you who you think isn't on the list, because it's quite open past the top two, who do you think maybe deserves a shout, at least?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think he should have been in the top five, to be honest.
I think Jaron Jackson Jr. has been robbed.
I'd take Sexton out, to be honest.
I think top five. I think what's his name?
Miles Turner's still a rookie, isn't he?
No, sophomore.
Yeah.
I was a sophomore.
If Turner was a rookie, he'd probably be in the top three easy.
Yeah, I was gonna. I thought he was a rookie for some reason because I seen that he was leading blocks the other day.
Yeah, you're still
and I was
dead,
like, I was gonna say for a rookie, that's quite impressive. So I didn't realize he was in his sophomore season.
He's either sophomore or third year. I can't remember which one.
Oh, right, okay.
But who would you say then?
If that's the case, I can't really think of anyone like apart from Doncic and Young and Ayton. To me, I don't really think any of the rookies have stood out this year.
Yeah.
So I'd probably agree with this list if I'm being honest.
Yeah, so you think that's fair?
Yeah, definitely.
Just trying to think of a few more people who maybe deserve a shout. I mean, Marvin Bagley for me has been part of that Kings team, which has been so resurgent this year.
Maybe Kevin Knox.
Yeah, he's been quite good this season, to be fair.
Gilgis, how do you say that? Gilgis Alexander or something on the Clippers. Yeah. He's been alright.
No, I'm not making a comment on a Clippers player.
Yeah, there's loads of honourable mentions, but I think the top two are just blowing everyone else out.
There's a few honourable mentions.
Yeah, moving on then. Sixth man of the year. Number one is Lou Williams. Definitely. Obviously, the current holder, the sixth man of the year king. He's already won it twice.
Yeah, he's probably the best sixth man.
Does he deserve to win it again?
Yeah, I'd probably say he does.
Yeah. I mean, if you told me at the start of the season that the Clippers would make playoffs even, I'd have said no chance. But the fact were they fourth or fifth? Either way,
fifth.
Either way, they shouldn't be where they are. Looking at the team, I think he's just been such a massive part of this team because they can just rely on their bench players and players like him every time. 100%. I don't know how good has he been this year.
He's been, I think, although the starters of the team are incredibly important, I think your bench is where you win and lose games because you need the caliber of player to carry you through the whole game. Because obviously your starters can't play 48 minutes a night. But I think having him on the bench is what's been giving them the ability to do so well throughout the season. He's averaging nearly 20 points a game off the bench, which I just think speaks wonders about him. And I hate the Clippers.
Who's he even backing up? Is it Beverly?
Yeah, I mean, unless Popev's starting a point.
Who knows? Either way, I think he's probably good enough to start for the Clippers, to be honest. I think it's just he sort of enjoys winning the sixth man of the year so much. He just sort of is happy to sit on the bench and come on. And he still gets starters minutes. He gets 23 minutes a game, 26 and that. This year, he's actually improved his scoring by 6 points a game, which is quite impressive, especially for his age.
Yeah, very impressive.
But I think it'll either be Beverly or it might even be like Gilgeous Alexander or it's one of them. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I just think like Lou Will for me is just the pinnacle of a six man. He's a fantastic teammate. And he actually wants a team to win. Like when he left LA, the Lakers, I was good. I've always loved Lou Will. I think he's a fantastic player, and he's a great person as well, which I think just makes him that little bit better of a player.
I mean, obviously, he's just been so big for the Clippers, and we were saying there about Gilgeous Alexander. Do you think it'll be just as good for him that he has someone like that sort of mentoring him every day and just teaching him different things?
Definitely. I think it's the same situation with a bit like Porzingis and Nowitzki as well. Like, I don't think it does a player any harm to have a vet on the team.
Yeah.
I always think having a vet on the team benefits the team more than anything.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think it'll do him more good than it'll do him
harm. Next then, we've got Derrick Rose, a player who we're all big fans of.
Oh, dear Rose. I mean, I absolutely love D Rose, but like there has been stints this season where he's been starting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think for me, like, although I love D Rose, like, absolutely adore him, I just think for like that he can't win 6-man. Like, you have for me, like, you have to cross a bench a majority of the season.
And you don't think he does sort of warrants?
Yeah, I don't think he actually is a 6-man. I think he's like on the like balance between a starter and a bench player. Like I think now, to be honest, he's cemented himself as a starter on the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
But so for me, I don't think he can warrant himself as a 6-man.
Dan, do you think you should sort of be there, or?
I mean, he should be in the discussion. Like, he does start some games, but I think for the majority of the season, he's been coming off the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more of a comeback season than anything. I mean, because he's not been amazing. I could think of players off the bench who would probably been better than him.
Yeah.
I think the reason he's probably so high is because everyone loves D Rose.
He has been good.
It's just the
like,
way
he sort of had like the games, sort of standout games where didn't he get 50 points in the game this year?
Yeah. 50.
I think that's sort of why he's here, just because people remember the games like that rather than sort of more consistent bench performances from others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To be fair, he's averaging 18 points per game as well, which
I think
is really good off the bench. If we talk about Lou Will, he's averaging 20, so it's only 2 points less.
Just
off the
2
bench.
years in general. Next, another Clipper, Montrezl Harrell.
Yeah, he's been good for them as well. I think defensively is where he's made up for the Clippers. Like I said, like their bench has really got them to where they are, and I think on the defensive end of things, Montrezl Harrell has really held it down for them.
I was going to say that. Do you think the key to where the Clippers are now is because of how good their bench is, as well as their starters?
100%.
Yeah,
because I don't really think there's any difference in the. Yeah. There's no difference really between the bench and the starters, like in the quality, really.
I think you can sort of either go two ways in the NBA. You can sort of, it's a bit of an extreme, but go like Golden State sort of route where you have 5 class starters and then not really anyone like worth of note on the bench.
Yeah.
Just rely on your starters to do the job when they come on. Or you can sort of go the Clippers route here and get like really good bench players. Arguably, your bench players could be better than your starters, but you just know that no matter who's on, they're going to do a job for you.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's probably the way forward, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, like, so the quality just doesn't dip at all.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams this year who've sort of pushed on and really done well and sort of surpassed expectations have been the teams who've sort of had that good bench to fall back on as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's sort of having a career. Yeah, he's getting 16.6 points a game compared to 11.2 across his career. He's getting more rebounds, more assists, more steals. Just in every category, he's having a better year. So he's really pushed on himself this year. Next, Spencer Dinwiddie. Dan, I think we'll let you start with this one.
I mean, I don't want to be too biased, but the guy gets buckets. He's clutch as well. Like, you can, if sometimes the last shot of the game will come to him, like not even D'Lo. So he's a good performer in the clutch. Gets points off the bench, can defend, gets assists, can play the 1 guard, plays the 2 guard. There's a lot of good things about him. I think he should be second on the list, in my opinion. Yeah, I think behind Lou. I still think Lou Williams is 6-man. Yeah, but I think Dinwiddie definitely
just how much
is one of the best.
Do you think that's sort of why he's on the bench to save him for moments like that? Yeah, like he's your star.
I think it's part of the reason, but I think the other reason is like we want D'Lo starting, and they can't. They've tried.
Do you think Dinwiddie would be happy to stay on the bench next year? Do you think he'll maybe?
Yeah, they both want to be on the ball. They're both primary ball handlers, so.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he'll be happy for another year. I think after that, I think he's got a player option, so we'll know for sure the year after next if he is happy with bench role.
He's improved in shooting this year, but like the biggest improvement he has is rebounds.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Lewis, why do you think he's sort of improved in that? Do you think that's just the Nets team in general getting better on the defensive side, or?
Yeah, I think the Nets this year have probably been the biggest underdog story of the entire NBA. Like, I did not predict them getting potentially playoffs. Like, I wouldn't have ever imagined that happen. And like I said, I absolutely love D'Lo, but I didn't think he was going to be ready to carry a team yet. And then I think just everyone sort of coming to their own. The coaches had good tactics as well, I think. But I just think the rebounding's probably just come from. I've noticed when I've watched the Nets, everyone kind of does a little bit of everything essentially. You know, like it's quite well balanced. I think that's probably one of the main reasons why he's started to get his rebounds up as well.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about him, Dan? Obviously, you watch him night in, night out. Yeah.
I mean, there's not really much else to say other than his defense is also another standout thing that's improved this year. I mean, you can't really see that in box stats. I mean, with rebounds you can, but like I'm talking about perimeter defense as well. Like getting around screens and stuff, massively improved from last year.
Sabonis, obviously,
so
backup center for OKC behind Steven Adams. Yeah, not OKC. He's at the Pacers now.
Yeah.
Sabonis at the Pacers, so he's back with Miles Turner.
Yeah, I think with the season that the Pacers have had, like, it's very warranted. And I think as well, like, the Pacers are another one of them teams that have been doing so well because of the bench.
Yeah.
And obviously he is a part of that. And to be backing up Miles Turner is quite a big job because he is such a large asset for the Pacers. And I think when he comes on the court, he does a fantastic job of it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he's another one who's massively improved on points and rebounds. He's improved his assists as well. So I think that's sort of a regular theme with a lot of these. It's sort of like they're consistent. Well, like Lou Williams especially is such a consistent, good player off the bench. But a lot of these are sort of coming off the bench into their stride. Sort of like a chip on their shoulder. Sort of they've got to prove something.
Yeah.
And I think Sabonis will be a massive part of the playoff run for the Pacers.
100%.
Because you can't give that whole load to Turner.
I think for me, like with the 6-man, they're a player that is good enough to start, but they've had to come off the bench because, you know, someone is maybe just slightly better left in front of them. But I think, like, every player that we mentioned is kind of like the pinnacle of that. Like, you know, I'd probably agree with Dan. Like, Dinwiddie probably should be second because if it wasn't for D'Lo, he would be 100% starting at the Nets. And I think that just kind of encapsulates like what a 6-man's all about. Like, they could be starting on another team, but they're a good teammate for their team, and they do the job very, very well when they come on. So I think he also encapsulates that very well. Like, he does a fantastic job when he's on the court as well.
Yeah. Moving on to defensive player then. We've already talked about 3 of these, Paul George, Kawhi and Giannis, so I'll just sort of skip over them. We know how good they are, but we'll talk about the other 2 people on this list. So second favourite for defensive player of the year was actually Rudy Gobert. Obviously, he's been up there for years for defensive player.
Yeah, I'd have him as mine.
Yeah, he's been class this season defensively.
Yeah. I mean, he's the best paint protector in the league.
Yeah, he's been class this season.
Yeah.
Like his length.
Yeah. Where would you probably rank him among like centers in the league? Because I always think he's been underrated.
Yeah, he's criminally underrated.
Defensively, I think he's top 2, maybe even the best. I think maybe on the offensive end, that's where
I've always sort of thought Utah in general, that whole team's always been underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to see him sort of always perform and get the credit. He's another player from abroad who no one really thought was going to do much when he came over, but shot a lot.
Yeah.
And then moving on, I think he was 4th favourite. Lewis mentioned it earlier. I think you said most blocks this year or something for Miles Turner.
Yeah. He's been cause that's why I said I thought he was a rookie at first. But I didn't realise he was a sophomore. But you know, even still to be in your sophomore season and you're playing with in the same conference as people like Embiid and stuff like that, and to be getting the most blocks in the NBA season, and like in your second year, I think personally definitely warrants talk of being up there as defensive player of the year, because essentially blocks, although your perimeter defense is important, blocks and rebounds is a primary part of defense essentially. And I think if you're averaging, if you're averaging and getting the most blocks in the NBA, you're one of the best defenders. So I think he definitely should be up there for the talks for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah. Right. So who do you think should win Defensive Player? Yeah. This is probably one of the more open awards, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm going to say Gobert or Giannis.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah. I have a feeling Paul George will win it, but I think Gobert will come very close. I'd like to personally see Gobert win it, but I think Paul George will probably nick it just because I think he won't win MVP and they'll sort of be like, this is your consolation.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right, moving on then. Most improved, clear favourite by a mile is Pascal Siakam at the Raptors.
Spicy P.
Yeah, I mean, he really has stepped it up this year. He's been huge for the Raptors out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's been really good this season. I think he's probably one of the other reasons why the Raptors have been so good this season.
Yeah.
He's just been doing everything right, to be honest with you. And I think no one really expected that of him. So I'd definitely say he's up there for most improved.
Yeah, like you were saying, there was no real pressure on him to sort of improve this year, or no one really saying like, you need to up your game. He's just sort of used sort of his own motivation, and this year he's coming out with, he's nearly like added 10 minutes on to what he was getting last year. He's getting 7 more points. Well, obviously most improved. He's improving in like every aspect, but he really has sort of, like last year, I don't think anyone would have even known who he was pretty much. And now he's one of probably definitely. I don't want to say top players in the league, but very notable player on one of the top teams.
Yeah, definitely.
Dan, do you think he warrants being such a clear favourite? I wonder why.
I'm definitely not. I think the conversation. I think it's between two people. Between D'Lo and Siakam.
Number 2 is De'Aaron. No, I'm just kidding. D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, I mean, I think it should be D'Lo overall. If you look at the difference, like Siakam, no one expected him to be this improved, and he plays on a good team already with good players around him, Lowry and Leonard, who are both all-stars. I don't know if Lowry was, but Leonard definitely was, and Lowry was definitely in contention. Whereas if you look at D'Lo, he literally carries the nets. So, I mean, most improved, he's carried the nets to a playoff berth. If D'Lo played like D'Lo of last season, we're like a 12th seed in the East, or 11th seed. So if we're talking about overall impact on the teams that they're on, I think Raptors still make playoffs easily. Yeah. With Siakam top 5 in the East, maybe even top 4 without Siakam. Whereas Nets fall off loads without D'Lo. They're not even playoff contention right now. I definitely agree with
you there, Dan. So, although Spicy P has had a really good season, like I've said before, I absolutely adore D'Lo. I think he's absolutely fantastic. And for me, I think just with, like you say, he's essentially carried the Nets to the playoff berth. And just, he's took it upon himself to be a leader. And I think probably what Magic Johnson said about him is probably stuck in his head. And I think that would stick in anyone's head, to be honest with you. But I just think with how well he's done at the Nets, I think it'd probably be Robin if he didn't win the most improved player of the year.
So do you think he wouldn't have been as good a player he is now if he was still at the Lakers and hadn't had that whole getting traded experience?
You can never really tell. Like hindsight's a beautiful thing, like we can say X, Y, and Z. But I think, at the same time, he would have come into his own eventually. So I suppose you can never be too sure. I mean, I don't think he would have been as good as he is now as quick. But I do definitely think he would have become a fantastic player regardless of what team he's playing on.
Yeah. And
definitely.
I think what makes Russell stand out on this list is he's by a mile the star in Brooklyn now. Like Dan was saying, he is the leader. He's the guy in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. And I think a year ago, would you have said that a year ago? Obviously, you're a Nets fan.
Well, he wasn't even starting last year. I mean, that was to do with injury, but when he came back, he wasn't even starting.
He's went from
such a huge
not
change
starting to becoming the main guy by an absolute mile, getting all-star appearances, different things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He makes the team around him much better as well. Like Joe Harris shooting lights out, best percentage from free in the NBA. Jarrett Allen averaging much more points than last season, just off Russell's playmaking. So I think he helps the team become better and become better himself.
Next on this list is De'Aaron Fox, who I think definitely deserves a spot in the top 3.
Yeah, he's been class as well. He's been part of that sort of Kings makeup this season that have really come back.
You could have probably put that whole Kings team on this list in the top 10 somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That whole team's just improved so much.
Should definitely be in contention.
But I think he's really sort of epitomised what the Kings have done this year and just how much they've sort of came together as a team to push on.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't know, he's probably one of the most exciting guards to watch in the league now for how explosive he is.
Yeah, he's quite athletic. Like, I never really realised that last season. But this year, with them actually, the Kings actually doing well and stuff like that, actually seeing how athletic he is and actually how talented he is, I definitely think he warrants being up there for most improved. But I don't think he actually is the most improved player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Do you think he deserves to be here ahead of sort of his other Kings teammates like Buddy Hield and people like that? Is he being the main standout on that team?
I think he's been the whole sort of basis behind the Kings, like having the resurgence that they're having. So I would definitely say he kind of warrants it the most.
Yeah. Next is Paul George again. Obviously, we've already been saying how good he is, sort of having a career year.
Yeah.
Last then is Nikola Jokic, who Lewis was speaking very highly of for MVP.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been absolutely incredible this year. Like I said, he's kind of like a silent assassin. No one really expects him to do the things that he's been doing, but he's been doing these things very, very well. I think he's criminally underrated, so I'd definitely say Jokic is up there for most improved, in my opinion.
Yeah. Do you maybe think he's the best player on this list currently? Out of all the candidates that we've went through so far,
it's between player,
him and D'Lo, isn't it?
I'd say best player definitely, but most improved, I still think goes to D'Lo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be saying that. Yeah.
I'd probably agree with that.
Who do you think will win this? You both sort of said.
Who I think Siakam will win it, but I think D'Lo 100% deserves it.
Yeah.
But I just have a feeling. He's not.
I'd probably be inclined to agree with Dan on that one.
Do you just want to throw out anyone else who should be considered?
And I'm not going to try and be biased.
I like Buddy Hield.
I
think he's improved a lot.
Kuzma has been very good this season. With like all the shit that we've had going on in LA, I do think Kuzma's had a very standout season, and I think if Ingram hadn't had what happened to Ingram as well, I think he could have been up in discussion for this too, 100%.
Yeah, I personally am. I don't even think I'm being biased here. I think it's just because no one really cares about Orlando. I think that's the only reason that Vucevic hasn't really made this list.
Yeah.
I don't think he should win it, but I think he should definitely be in the top 5 because what he's been able to do this year is just incredible, really. He's literally just turned around that team so much.
You have had a good season is mainly due to everything that he's been doing for us. So
he was our first All-Star since 2012, so I think...
I completely forgot about Vucevic, to be honest. I think he definitely should be up there as well.
Moving away from the players then, on to Coach of the Year. We'll start off with Mike Budenholzer from the Bucks. The best team in the NBA at the minute. How much has he really impacted them?
I think, because obviously defense isn't really thought about much in the NBA anymore, but I think with what he's brought to the Bucks, I just think for me he probably should be Coach of the Year. He's done absolute wonders with the team. Like, because I don't think any of us would have predicted putting the Bucks as the top seed, or even like the best team in the NBA. So I think he definitely warrants a very, very good shout for Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I think what I like about what he's done there so much is when you watch them under Jason Kidd, it was sort of like they didn't really know what they were doing. Like they just sort of like they knew Giannis was the main guy, but they didn't really know what positions to get him in. Whereas I think Budenholzer's found like he's found like the perfect balance. Like he's made it so that Giannis is the main guy who you can rely on to go get your points in the paint and things like that. But he's also got everyone else so involved.
Yeah,
and like we were
definitely.
mentioning before about how important the bench is. I think Budenholzer's made some really good signings for the Bucks. Obviously bringing in Gasol, Mirotic, Lopez. You know,
he's 100%.
He's made such a well-rounded team. I think the Bucks are in probably the best place that they've ever been to win the NBA.
Yeah, I definitely think they'll get to the NBA finals. I don't really think there's any sort of doubt in my mind about that, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So I think he definitely warrants a shout for
it. Dan, second was another Mike Malone for the Nuggets.
Malone, yeah. I was actually going to say him, just because nobody really expected the Nuggets to be this good this year. And like for like large majorities of the season, they were the best team in the West by like quite a bit at times in the season when everyone really expected it to be Golden State or like Rockets or someone, and Nuggets out of nowhere best record in the West for. I know they haven't anymore, but for like a 3-4 month stretch, they had the best record. So I think he deserves credit, and I think they play well. The players have improved. Harris, Murray, and Jokic, as well as Millsap and others as well. So I think he definitely. I think he deserves it more than Budenholzer. I think.
Yeah,
Budenholzer has Giannis.
I definitely agree with what you said there, but I think with the system that Budenholzer has implemented in the Bucks, I think that's why they've been such a good team. Don't get us wrong, obviously they do have Giannis, but like we said earlier on, one player doesn't make a team. Yeah, and one player doesn't make a team.
Yeah.
So
I was another shout for Mike Malone potentially is the Nuggets didn't even make playoffs last year, and now they're fighting for the number 1 seed in the West.
Yeah.
Just something else to think about for him. Third, Nate McMillan at the Pacers.
Yeah, they've been class as well this season.
Yeah, I really thought they were going to drop off, but they've kept it going, so fair play.
Yeah, especially with Mitchell getting injured. I mean, Oladipo, sorry. I always get them two mixed up. No, obviously with him being injured as well, I think everyone kind of just expected them to fall off with what's been going on.
Yeah.
And that haven't. They've been absolutely class. So
I know some Pacers fans were even worried about dropping out of playoffs, maybe, but they've seemed to get even better since Oladipo left, and I want to say they're fourth or fifth. It's either them or the Celtics there, and I know like they've just done so well just to keep the pace going, like you were saying, even after Oladipo's got injured. It's like fair play to them.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's been in charge of coordinating that, so.
So I think he's definitely in for a shout of it, yeah.
Dan, I'll let you talk about fourth because Lewis won't be too happy about Doc Rivers sitting there.
I think Doc Rivers has to be up there, considering the job he's done with the Clippers.
Yeah.
It's all the teams that no one expected to really be as good as they are. Their coaches are obviously going to get mentions for Coach of the Year. Yeah, I don't really watch much Clippers, I'll be honest. But if you have a look at the record speaks for itself.
Yeah, I think what I always notice about the Clippers is I honestly don't even think the Clippers have like, I would want to say not good players, but they have no stars at all.
Yeah,
definitely. Did they have any All-Stars this year, the Clippers?
Nah.
Exactly, and he's got a team with no All-Stars comfortably making playoffs. I think he definitely deserves to be in this top 5 for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Gallinari's probably their best player.
Yeah, and that's saying something, isn't it?
Yeah.
But they do it every time, so I think obviously he's got to be the guy who's running that. He's made the difference.
Yeah.
And then we'll finish off with Kenny Atkinson. He's fifth.
I mean, he's just got a new contract the other day, so he's definitely doing something right. I mean, he's a good coach. He's a young coach still. He's only been coaching for like 3 years at NBA level. I think there's still inconsistencies with some of the plays he runs, and especially with sometimes who gets the last shot. But I mean, that's more of a player thing, I guess.
Yeah, trying to fight for it.
Yeah, but I think he's a good coach. He should definitely be in the top 5, but I don't think he comes close to people like Budenholzer and Malone. So,
Lewis, anything you want to say about Kenny Atkinson and the Nets?
I think with the Nets, no one really expected them to be where they are this season. Like, I don't even think Dan is a Nets fan expecting them to be where they are. So I think that kind of just speaks volumes about him. Like, I think, like you said, a lot of it's to do with what teams we expected to be where they are and where they're not. And I think one of these teams aren't where we expect them to be, but they've done fantastic to get there. So I think it's definitely a good shout that he's up there for Coach of the Year.
Mm-hmm. So who do you think win Coach of the Year then, overall?
I think Malone personally, but I think Budenholzer's probably more popular opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Budenholzer probably win it, to be honest.
What led it from just the record and having the best team in the NBA?
Yeah, I think, like, you know, when we're seeing Steve Kerr and stuff win it, it was because his team had the best record. So I think that'll just kind of follow through, because I think realistically 95% of the time Coach of the Year goes to the coach that's got the best team.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Is that anyone, like maybe other coaches who you think should be on this list then?
Luke Walton. Nah, what? No, definitely not. Fucking.
So deserves an honourable mention. I know Magic fans love him. So
well, look how much he's turned around the team.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to be honest, I expected the Magic to be near the bottom of the East, and they're still fighting for.
I thought we would finish bottom, to be honest.
Currently 8th seed, so he's doing something right.
Yeah.
Lewis,
definitely. Anyone? Any other? Both of you? Anyone else who maybe should be thrown on?
I'd probably say Clifford, like what Dan said, because, you know, yous really shouldn't. No offense, Joe, but with the team that yous have got, you shouldn't be where yous are, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think that speaks volumes about you, sort of. Just trying to think of other coaches who might be in with the shout.
I mean, trying to think. Obviously, like Dan was saying.
Who's everyone likes Pop?
Yeah, well, that's who I was thinking of, because I seen a ridiculous stat the other day where the Spurs have only had a negative record for like 63 days or something since Pop's been in charge.
Do you maybe think he always gets overlooked for this award just because of he does it every year?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the standings now, and at home, the Spurs are 31-9.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's a way that's let them down, because like they're going 14.
Yeah, they have that 9-game road trip as well when the AT&T Centre's used. So that normally messes with their record a bit.
Yeah, definitely. But apart from that, I can't really think of anyone else, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair enough. We'll move on to the last sort of. This isn't an actual award, but I just thought it would be good to sort of get our opinions on who, as a team, has improved the most this year. Obviously, if you know the best team, it's literally that's what they play for. But the most improved team, obviously, left to opinion. But I've sort of done the maths on this, so I'm just going to go from order, like the top 5 teams who've improved the most, based on more wins this year. So starting off, the Grizzlies have got 9 more wins at this stage this year than they did last year at 5th.
They're still bad, so
yeah, they're so bad, but it's, you know, but 9 promising? Wins is still
it's nice to see improvement. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely nice to see improvement.
Why do you think they have improved so much? 9 wins. I mean, 9 wins isn't at this stage, you know. I think despite them still being bad.
They started really well. Jaren Jackson Jr. came out firing at the start, and they got a lot of wins then. I think they were top seed in the West for after the first 2 weeks. So I think they started well, and then along the way they've just been picking up wins here and there.
Downhill.
Yeah.
4th most improved team this year then, with plus 11 wins, is the Nets.
Yeah.
I think most improved team, but no, I'm kidding. I think we've improved, but I think we've improved a lot, but I don't think we're most improved team. I think there's other teams. There's 2 other teams in particular I think should be between.
Well, you're joint with the Kings on 11 wins from last year.
I think the Kings are one of the most improved teams, definitely.
Yeah, the Kings have been absolutely class this season, to be fair.
Yeah, the West is so tough, and
like,
one expecting them to be so good.
We didn't really talk about it before, but why do you think the Kings have got so much better from like the last few years, even?
Buddy Held and Darren Fox.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think just
and Cauley Stein?
Yeah.
Cauley Stein as well.
Do you think it's just all the players just individually getting better, and it's all just happening at the same time?
Definitely.
I think it could be that.
100%. I think they were a team that had quite a lot of potential, and then they finally got to where that potential level is, and I think they're excelling now because of it.
Yeah. The second most improved team, adding 13 wins onto what they had last year, is the Bucks.
Yeah, another reason.
I think they're just the best team.
Yeah, another reason for Coach of the Year as well. Though he has drastically improved them.
Yeah,
it's not as if they've just been because they were a good team, but they weren't fantastic. Whereas now they are absolutely incredible.
So do you think that's pretty much all down to Budenholzer's coaching? Because obviously they had the same team last year. It's just he's got more out of it.
I think they added Lopez as well, which was huge because they have 4 shooters around Giannis who can just drive, and Giannis has improved his game as well. He's bigger now as well. So I think the players have made improvements, the coaches improved, the team's improved. Makes sense.
And the most improved team in the NBA from last year, adding 14 wins on their record, is the Orlando Magic with 14.
Yeah, I think it's between the Magic and the Kings, but I think the Magic probably do edge it for me.
On numbers, the Magic are the most improved team, but I get what you're saying. I think probably no one expected the Kings to do anything, and they really have. Yeah. Each player sort of individually improved so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think at the same time you can also argue no one expected the Magic to do anything either.
No.
No offense again, Joe, but I really didn't expect you to have the season that you are having. So I definitely, and especially if you are statistically the most improved team, I think you're definitely deserving of a mention for this 100%. I'd definitely say it's between you and the Kings, though.
I mean, definitely. I think if we make playoffs, I think it's definitely us because there's no chance we would have made playoffs or anyone would have thought it at the start of the year.
No, definitely not. Like I said, I really didn't see it happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really didn't. I think obviously the Nets are up there as well. I think the reason we're sort of up here is because I know us and the Nets especially, and other teams have as well, but I think us two have really sort of utilised our J League players this year. Like they've been, I don't know about the Nets particularly, but they've been such a huge part of most of our games this year. Just them coming on and filling in and doing their part.
Yeah, I think the Lakers took a bit of inspiration from that as well, because obviously we signed Alex Caruso, and he's been absolutely balling out for us. So, but I think you have just utilised your J League players that little, not that little, loads better. And I think that's what's really carried you to where they've been.
I mean, the Nets are in the J League final, aren't they? Yeah.
Long Island Nets.
Yeah. Against the Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets J League team. I forgot what it's called. Vipers or something.
Oh, well. It's been a pleasure having you on, lads, again.
Thanks for having me on, Joe.
Definitely, obviously, playoffs starting soon. I'll definitely get you back on for that.
Thank you for having me on.
Mint.
All right.
Thanks for having me on, mate.
Yep, everyone else. Thanks for listening. See you later.